Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod and our 17th episode of Lightspeed. Bringing you Star Wars news and the headlines in under 15 minutes. How crazy is that? We got a fandom that you can actually talk Star Wars every week. I mean, or every month or whatever, every day. There's always something new going on. So we do these Lightspeed episodes to catch you up on the Star Wars headlines. First up, Star Wars International Podcast Day happening February 7th, 2022. If you guys listen in on multiple Star Wars podcasts, you'll probably know about this already. And if you didn't, you're welcome. It's happening on February 7th. New episodes for every Star Wars podcast participating will be dropping between the 7th and I believe the 11th of February. But the majority of them will be happening on February 7th. Live streams, new episodes. Use the hashtag Star Wars Podcast Day or SWPD 2022. Prior to the 7th, follow all those accounts on social media for all your Star Wars podcasts. Ours is at SWSK Podcast on both Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date on the latest Star Wars news for both the show and Star Wars as a whole. The very first Star Wars podcast premiered way back in 1999, and we want to do our best to shine a light on this giant community, which is fast approaching almost 4,000 Star Wars podcasts on the internet. Yeah, that's right, almost 4,000. And over 80 participated last year for the inaugural event. This year is the second annual Star Wars Podcast Day. Sadly, we did not participate in the first one. I have no idea why. Just didn't get to my attention, I guess. But you can look forward to a very fun Star Wars-filled February 7th this year. Stay tuned to the show. Drop those reviews. Share it with your friends. It's going to be fun. We might even do a live Twitter Spaces thing. If we can do it. We'll try and get it working. I promise. All right. New books and comics. February 1st, The High Republic Midnight Horizon, written by Daniel Jose Older, is the new young adult novel based in the High Republic that comes out February 1st, as well as the children's book, The High Republic Battle for Starlight, written by George Mann, or I guess I should say adapted by George Mann. I believe they're taking stories from the adult novels and translating them into children's books. So it's a neat way of keeping the young kids in the loop of what's happening in the High Republic era. February 2nd, only a day later, we get issues number 1 for the Halcyon Legacy miniseries, taking place on the Galactic Star Cruiser at Disney World, also based in the High Republic. This one is written by Ethan Sachs, and the 5th issue, I believe, comes out later this year, as well as the trade paperback. So, a 5-issue miniseries there. There's a 5-issue miniseries for Crimson Reign as well, which we get the 2nd issue of that series, February 2nd, written by Charles Soule. Continues the story of Kira and Crimson Dawn in the post-War of the Bounty Hunters time period between episodes 5 and 6 of the films. Kira was a character we were first introduced to in Solo: A Star Wars Story, and it's really cool that they are bringing her back, as well as Crimson Dawn, the crime syndicate, to really kind of give us that Solo 2 story that we never got. And tie up some loose ends. So, if you're curious about tying up Solo loose ends, you're going to want to tune into that Marvel comic series, Crimson Reign, as well as War of the Bounty Hunters, which just wrapped up this past fall, or this past winter, I should say. Now, this past January, we had a ton of stuff drop from Marvel Comics, IDW Comics, and of course Star Wars Insider. We got a new issue of that. So let's run through the latest. We got the High Republic Trail of Shadows issue number 4, Star Wars Adventures Ghosts of Vader's Castle trade paperback, the High Republic Adventures Galactic Bake-Off Spectacular, Dr. Aphra number 18, the High Republic number 13, the High Republic Eye of the Storm issue number 1, which is a prequel miniseries for the villain Marchion Ro. We had Star Wars issues number 20, Bounty Hunters issue number 20, the High Republic Adventures issue number 12, the trade paperback for Bounty Hunters volume 3, and Dr. Aphra issue number 17. There is so much in the book/comic realm of Star Wars, it's hard to stay on top of all of it. But the most important thing that came out this past month was probably The High Republic, The Fallen Star, being, of course, written by Claudia Gray. This is part of the main staple Del Rey Star Wars series, and I believe is the second main novel. So if you're curious about the High Republic, be sure to pick up Light of the Jedi, and you can start there where it all begins. I'd like to take a moment to talk about Geek Gift Registry. I'm leaving in the description, a link in the description. This website is done by a friend of ours, Adam, who's come on the show before last year to talk about Star Wars collectibles and toys and merchandise. This site is absolutely insane. Build a wish list, cool gift ideas for geeks and collectors. Search, shop, save, share. Build the ultimate geeky wish list for sharing around with your friends and family so they know what to buy you. And this website pulls from all the different sources in town and brings together a collective merchandise database of Marvel Legends, X-Men, G.I. Joe, Doctor Who, Pokemon, Power Rangers, Star Wars, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, DC, Masters of the Universe, Marvel, and so much more. You can select your country, Canada, USA. Both countries are supported. Build the ultimate wish list to give out to your friends so they know what to buy you. Like I said, it's awesome. So we're going to get Adam on the podcast again at some point to talk about his new site. Because, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to Star Wars merchandise. We'd love to hear from him again. But I made him a promise that I'd tell all of you guys about this new website. So make sure you check it out. Hit that link in the description and give it a go. We're going to take a quick preview here at the LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga gameplay overview. New game finally got a release date for April 5th. And you can check the full video on YouTube out for yourself. But let's take a quick listen.
A young dreamer becomes a Jedi Knight. A Jedi is twisted by the dark side. And as the Force awakens, a hero rises up to save the galaxy. Relive the epic story of all 9 films in the biggest LEGO video game yet, with LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Your adventures start by picking the trilogy of your choice. Start with Poe Dameron fighting off the First Order in Episode 7. Jump into Episode 1 as Qui-Gon and his young Padawan escape a failed negotiation. Or start where it all began, as Leia sends R2-D2 and C-3PO on a mission that will change the course of the galaxy. Whatever era you choose, play through the entire saga and experience the hilarious fun only LEGO games can offer.
All right, there you go. You can hear the whole rest of it and see footage of actual gameplay on the Warner Brothers Games YouTube site, the Xbox site, the Lego site. Everything. It's on YouTube. It's blowing up across the internet. So you can look forward to that game coming out April 5th, 2022. And hopefully that game doesn't hit any more delays because it's been hit by so many delays already. It would be a shame if it got delayed again. I know a lot of people looking forward to that game. It's got a mumble mode. If you remember the games of old, the old Lego games, no characters actually talked. They all just kind of mumble to each other. You can actually turn that feature on. I love that you can start at whatever point that you want at episode 1, 4, or 7. Play through whatever trilogy you want first and kind of go on from there. It's a really good way of doing it. There's going to be a limited edition Luke Skywalker with blue milk figure if you get the physical copy. And there's going to be 7 character packs spanning from The Mandalorian all the way to Rogue One, The Bad Batch. I'm sure you can expect some Easter egg levels in there from Rogue One and Solo. I have no idea. I'm sure they'll hide that in there. Lego's pretty good about doing that kind of stuff. So that's a really cool game, and I'm sure you guys are all looking forward to that just as much as me. Speaking of games, we can look forward to a new Star Wars Jedi game, Jedi Fallen Order 2, but they're not really calling it that necessarily. It might be called something else. But from Respawn Entertainment, we can look forward to a sequel of that game, as well as 2 more games. Stig Asmussen if I'm botching that name, I apologize, is returning as director for the new Jedi game, while Peter Hirschman from old LucasArts days is leading a first-person shooter game, and Respawn is also working with Sid Meier's Civilization's Greg Forts and his new studio, Bit Reactor, on a new strategy game. So that's 3 new games from the Respawn Studios. We haven't had a strategy game since Empire at War and Galactic Battlegrounds, which are both very old games at this point. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I love Civilization, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do for a new Star Wars strategy game. One that's not a free-to-play mobile thing, if you know what I'm talking about. Jedi Fallen Order 2, sequel, obviously. Looking forward to that. I'm really curious about this new shooter game. You know, it's not necessarily going to be a Battlefront 3. It could be something completely new, like a new Republic Commando game or something. That would be wicked. I love that game to death. And really looking forward to seeing what they do with the new Star Wars shooter. New Star Wars Lego Star Wars sets. Sorry, I repeated myself there. New Lego Star Wars sets from 2022 are being revealed within the last couple days, actually. This is brand new news. We got a new Lego Star Wars Mandalorian helmet coming out, as well as a Luke Skywalker pilot helmet. And if you guys have been buying up those, I think they've come out with a Boba one, a Vader one, and a Stormtrooper one at this point. So there's 2 more to add to the list if you're a collector of those Lego helmets. Really cool stuff. And of course, with all the new Star Wars content this year being the live action shows, you can look forward to many, many new Lego sets coming out in the near future. Some big news regarding Anthony Daniels is he is returning as C-3PO for the new Star Wars Droids show, which is called Star Wars: A Droid Story, launching on Disney Plus at some point in the future. The official description is, as Lucasfilm continues to develop new stories, the intersection of animation and visual effects offers new opportunities to explore. Lucasfilm Animation will be teaming up with Lucasfilm's visual effects team, Industrial Light and Magic, to develop a special Star Wars adventure for Disney+, A Droid Story. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by legendary duo R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, released with some of this news is Anthony Daniels in a mocap suit, which tells me that this Droid Story special will be a CG animated style short film, perhaps within the realm of 30 to 45 minutes is my guess, maybe just as long as the Lego Star Wars specials or so. I don't know. Who knows? So looking forward to that. I mean, it should be interesting. I mean, we all love C-3PO and R2-D2, and it's always cool to see him back as the character. So that'll be great. As you guys know, Book of Boba has been dropping. It's been, it's been knocking it out of the park. And you can check out our reviews on the podcast, chapters 1 through 5. Looking forward to the last 2. New episodes coming out every week, all the time. Best way to help us out on the show is to share the show with a friend. Drop a 5-star review. Leave a couple words. You know, if you can log into the iTunes or Podchaser or whatever platform you're using to listen to this show on, if you can leave a review, we'd appreciate it. Helps with the algorithms, helps other people find the show. And like I mentioned earlier, there's almost close to 4,000 Star Wars podcasts. So if you're listening to us right now, we really thank you. Honestly, it's a pretty crazy market when it comes to the saturation of Star Wars podcasts, and it's hard to grab attention. It's hard to grab audience, and we'd love to expand our demographic. So if you can do us the huge favor of sharing the show with a friend, following our social media at SW Escape Podcast on both Instagram, Twitter. We always love hearing from our listeners, so shoot us an email, swescapepodcast@gmail.com. That's all we got for today, guys. Stay tuned to the podcast. Tune in on February 7th. Look for us on Twitter and so much more. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you in the next one.